Hello everyone. So The Entertainer has released an article promoting the third Sonic movie, but there are definitely some interesting things to talk about in there. Some inconsistencies and some just strange abnormalities. Let's get into it. So let's start with the beginning. The article is titled The Evolution of Sonic the Hedgehog. Now this is a pretty standard name for an article, however if you scroll just a little bit further you get... oh, that's an AI generated image of movie Sonic and Shadow presumably fighting. That doesn't bode particularly well for the rest of the article, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They probably just found it off Google when searching Sonic movie. Moving on to the actual article, it starts off by saying, as hedgehogs go, you don't really get more famous than Sonic the Hedgehog. For over 30 years, the Turbo Speed Hedgehog has been Sega's mascot, starring in games, TV shows, movies, and spawning an exciting collection of toys for children to bring him into the real world. Explore all our fun Sonic toys featuring the whole gang, from Amy and Tails to characters from the brand new movie Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Now so far this doesn't seem too out of the ordinary, there's nothing incorrect so far, but coming up is some very strange, almost AI-like errors. Continuing on through the article, it then says that Sonic was created to be the flagship character of all the Sega franchise, competing with Mario for the adoration of legion of fans for whom consoles had become the ultimate Christmas list must-have. When the Master System console was first released in the UK in 1996, it was many gaming fans' first introductions to the spin-dashing hero. Who remembers trying to beat Green Hill Zone in less than 30 seconds? Now this is where a lot of the errors start to rear their ugly heads. At risk of sounding like a huge nerd, I'm now going to critique everything I think is wrong with just this one paragraph from the article. I mean, first off, there are a lot of grammatical errors that just shouldn't be made in an article being published on one of the biggest toy sites in the UK. And then they mention the Master System, and I've done my research on this to make sure I didn't misremember anything. And the Master System originally released in 1987, and then the Master System 2 was released in 1990, and Sonic 1 released just 1 year later. Not to mention, Sonic 1 was released on the Genesis, or Mega Drive as we call it in the UK first, which came bundled with Sonic 1 anyway. Let's just move on before I lose any more brain cells. They end this section with a picture of Sonic from Sonic 1 and a picture of Sonic from the movies, and I think this is a fine way to end this section. The next section is titled The Origin of Sonic the Hedgehog. They state that every good lead character needs a backstory, and Sonic is no different. Legend has it that a World War II pilot with spiky hair earned the name Hedgehog during his career. He was tipped to be the first pilot to break the sound barrier. When he retired, his awful wife created a series of stories inspired by her Sonic Speed husband, and Sonic was born. You'll often spot reference to his backstory in Sonic games, including the original logos and game starting screens. To an extent, they're actually correct, however they forget to mention that it's a fictional character within a fictional story. There's not an actual World War II pilot that broke the sound barrier who happens to have a nickname Hedgehog. ChowMix actually made a really interesting video on this. I'll leave a link to it in the description because it actually talks about the entire origin story in detail. They tail end this section with a picture of the Sonic 1 title screen. Not a bad picture to end it with. The next section is titled Designing Sonic the Hedgehog and reads, Sonic was brought to life by Japanese designer Naoto Oshima, who wanted to create a lovable character that could become the star of Sega games. His remit was to create a character that transcended race and gender, would appeal to all ages and would be easy for children to draw themselves. He went through a number of designs before settling on Sonic. Possibilities for this form included an armadillo, a porcupine, a dog, and even Dr. Robotnik. That's right, the enduring evil character in the Sonic franchise was nearly the main hero. Now, while a lot of this is true, I don't believe Sonic was ever conceptualized as an armadillo. Obviously, Mighty is a character that exists who is an armadillo, but I don't think Sonic was ever conceptualized to be that character. I could always be wrong, so feel free to correct me in the comments if you guys know otherwise, but I don't think this is a thing. The article continues on stating that Oshima asked members of the public to help him choose the final design, and the blue hedgehog was the overwhelming favourite. Since then, he's gone on to have hundreds of adventures, been redesigned, redrawn, and many characters have been added to the Sonic universe, but he's kept his roots as the fastest, spikiest hero that the world of consoles ever saw. And again, this is all correct. I don't think anything about this part is wrong, which is good. There were some aspects of this and some coming up that do make me think it might be AI generated, but parts like this convince me otherwise. Next up, they list some facts about Sonic's design, and these all look correct, so I'm not going to talk much about them, I'm just going to list them. And they say that Sonic's shoes were designed to be a cross between Santa and Michael Jackson's footwear. The blue colour was taken from the Sega logo to align with the brand. Sonic's personality was based on a very famous American politician's can-do attitude. Can you guess who? I can't because I'm British and I know nothing about America. They finish off the section with two more facts, being artwork was based around the idea of Americana and jet planes. You can see references to Plan Nose art throughout the early games. Dr. Robotnik, who was originally designed to be the main character, was based on Theodore Roosevelt in pajamas. He starts, which I believe they meant stars, in the new Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie too, and makes some surprising choices. Moving right on to the next section, they talk about Sonic's first game appearances. It reads, Sonic's first cameo in a game came in 1991 in an arcade game called Radmobile. He was featured as a rear-view mirror ornament before he starred in his own gaming franchise beginning the same year. Released for the Master System 8-bit console and the 16-bit Mega Drive/Genesis console, the original Sonic the Hedgehog game was a fast-paced platform game with Sonic spinning and dashing through levels such as Green Hill Zone, Chemical Zone, Casino, Metropolis, Labyrinth, Marble, and so many more. Not to be all, actually, but Chemical Zone doesn't exist. They're talking about Chemical Plant, and it doesn't take place in the first game, the same as Casino and Metropolis. Casino isn't a zone, that's Casino Night, and Metropolis is a zone, but it takes place in Sonic 2. So many issues in this one section, and maybe it only matters to someone like me who's a little bit of a nerd when it comes to Sonic. But either way, they could have done a bit more research. Continuing through the article, they then state that as consoles developed, so did the Sonic franchise. The first friend to join the gang was Tails, a young fox with two tails that gave him the ability to fly. In a completely original move, early Sonic games allowed players to work as cooperative, with one person controlling Sonic and the other hellying him out with lifts over chasms and killing the multitude of enemies they came across. Later on, these features would become more refined, adding more friends. Knuckles the Echidna joined the gang in 1994 in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and Amy joining the gang in 1998 in Sonic Adventure. Okay, the spectacles, the nerd spectacles, they're staying on for now, because there's still more issues here. Yes, Knuckles was introduced in 1994, and yes, you could do two-player as early as Sonic 2, but you couldn't pick Sonic up as Tails. He couldn't fly in Sonic 2, or at least you couldn't make him fly. And that's not to mention the claim that Amy was introduced in 1998 in Sonic Adventure. She appeared much before that, she appeared before even Knuckles. Amy's first appearance was alongside Metal Sonic in Sonic CD in 1993. I just feel like it would be so easy to do 2 minutes of research to find that out, but I feel like they just used an AI to write this. I can't help but feel that way. Moving swiftly on, they end this section with, together, the gang would go on to star in over 140 games across different genres, consoles, and franchises. There have been 3 movies and several different TV series, but the premise usually stays the same. Beat Dr. Robotnik, save the woodland critters, and save the world. They end off the article with some stuff about the movies, stating Sonic first starred in his own movie in 2020, joining forces with the town sheriff to beat the evil Robotnik in his latest Plot. I think they meant plot. Starring Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman, the film introduced a new generation of gamers to the Sonic universe. In the next movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic and Tails race to find the Master Emerald before Robotnik and his sidekick Knuckles do. We can't wait to watch the brand new Sonic film, starring Carrey again as Robotnik, released in cinemas on the 26th of December 2024. We know that the gang are reunited to fight a brand new adversary, Shadow the Hedgehog. Given the same powers as Sonic, Shadow took a darker path in life, and it's going to take the joint efforts of the whole gang, as well as an unlikely ally, to protect the world and all the creatures in it. Bring Sonic the Hedgehog 3 to life with our range of exciting Sonic toys. From action figures to playsets that help you act out your favourite scenes from the movies, we've got everything a Sonic the Hedgehog fan could possibly want. Except, of course, you know, the movie-free toys, but I digress. Stay speedy, Sonic fans. So that was the entire article, and while there were some errors and also the AI generated image, which I'm personally not a fan of, I think overall it was fine. As something that is essentially just an advertisement for their Sonic toys and something for kids and parents to just read, I think it's fine, but as a Sonic fan there were some things in there that for me just went, that's incorrect. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, it's designed for kids and parents, so it's not the end of the world. And that was the entire article, and therefore, that's the end of this video. This was my first attempt at long-form content, so if you enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's completely free, and you can always unsubscribe if you change your mind later. If you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching. Peace.